Shalom, brothers and sisters. I hope you guys are doing well. Man, I'm just getting off of work, but I could not sleep. I just could not sleep. I've been praying, talking to Yahuwah, studying. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about this eclipse that is going to happen on April the 8th. But I want you guys to pay attention to exactly where this X is, where it crosses. That part is very significant. And I know people have been talking about this X, but a lot of people haven't been talking about exactly what area that is where the X is marked at. So if you don't know, it is actually this place right here. The New Madrid seismic zone. Now, if you research in history, back in 1811, there was a major earthquake that shook the United States during this time, and it caused a lot of damage. And I believe it was a 7.7 magnitude earthquake, one of the largest recorded in history. And then, the aftershocks that happened even after that day, December 16, 1811. Let's see, December 16, 1811, there was around 7:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, there was a 7.0 magnitude aftershock. And then January 23rd, 1812, there was another shock, 7.5 magnitude. February 7th, 1812, 7.7 magnitude aftershock in this area right here, the New Madrid, which is where one of the major fault lines is, and it just happens to also run through the Mississippi River. Now, I'm not saying that an earthquake is going to happen that day. I'm not prophesying that, but however, we should be prepared for anything, right? We should have our homes and most of all, our hearts prepared and our minds prepared. We should be focused on Yahuwah. With that said, we should always, make sure that we are right with Him, make sure that our walk is right with Him, making sure that our attitude towards Him is right, making sure that we are living righteous according to His Debar, His word. But I don't find this a significance that once this eclipse passes through the United States, it will bring a complete X in that area. Now, if you look at the Picto Hebrew, the letter is Tau, which means a mark or sign, a signal. Think about that. A mark, a sign, a signal. Right here, which happens to be the heart of the United States. The heart of the United States. Now, I do not find that a coincidence. And if you also think about what's happening on April 8th, the Passover will begin, Pesach. This is all lining up. But again, listen, I'm not saying that something drastic is going to happen, but it is also strange if you've been watching the news where it's talking about how the animals have been acting very strange lately. If you look at different cities in Texas and Arkansas and a lot of these areas where this solar eclipse, some places are closing down school for that day. Some of the local governments in that area are declaring disaster, are preparing for disaster recovery. Literally, They have all of their important personnel lined up, ready to go in case something dramatic happens. All their first responders, all their local agencies, making sure that they have all their equipment ready, making sure they have all their supplies ready. Now, to me, that should be a wake-up call. That definitely should be a wake-up call. You know, something else that I find interesting is not too far away from where this New Madrid seismic zone is Memphis, Tennessee. But there's something in Memphis, Tennessee. The Memphis Pyramid. Now, what's behind the US dollar? The US dollar bill, I should say. Oh, the pyramid with the all-seeing eye. And according to them, this pyramid represents strength and duration. So, with that X marking that area, is this Yahuwah saying that he's going to break the strength and the duration of the US dollar? Because what's one thing that this country claims make them so strong? It's their money supply. It's the US dollar. And this US dollar is still the world's global reserve currency. But there's also an entity behind this US dollar. There's a supernatural power. That's why this dollar has had such a stronghold on many other countries for years. Now, if you also see that, what you see? The all-seeing eye, or aka the eye of a pagan deity Horus. Now, if you also realize that on the dollar bill, what does it say? In God we trust. Now, if you research God, or who many call God, you will see that it's actually a Babylonian deity of fortune. So, and then think about this also, the United States, as long as they can print their money, they will always feel that they're empowered. So when Yahuwah does something where they can no longer print their money, when he cuts the money supply, when he destroys the economy, because understand, when an earthquake happens, it is always significant economic ramifications that happens behind it. Always. Just like when there's war, there's always economic turmoil after that. Any type of disaster that happens, it immediately damages the economy of a place, of a city, a country, state, whatever. But it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. And that is happening on the Passover. Now I want to read something as well. In the book of Matthew, chapter 27, I'm going to read verse 45. It says, now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour. Now, I find that not a coincidence that there's going to be darkness over the land for a specific time. And then verse 50, shortly after that, the 6th hour, in that 6th hour, says Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up his rug, and behold, the veil of the temple was rent in two from top to bottom, and the earth did quake and rocks rent. All this could possibly shaping up to be a catastrophic earthquake. But again, listen, I'm not saying that an earthquake is going to happen on that day or even after. But what I'm saying is, you never know. You never know. But it's not ironic that this X happens to be over an area where there's a major fault line that happens to be in the heart of the United States. And if another earthquake was to happen, I think it would be stronger than a 7.7 magnitude earthquake. I really do. And look how many areas it would affect. Look how many areas it would affect if that was to happen. And so I say all of that to say this, family. No matter what happens, when you trust in Yahuwah and lean upon him, he'll give you everything. When you keep your eyes on him, he will give you everything. But he does send warning before destruction, because he never wants his people left out. He never wants his people in a place where they're going to or fro once disaster hits, once chaos hit. He never wants his people unprepared. He always wants us prepared in the right place, but more than ever, spiritually. Trusting in him, leaning on him, depending on him, keeping him first, making him the center of everything. Of everything. Now, I want to come back to this as well. And I shared this as a YouTube post. When Yahuwah was getting ready to deal with Mitzrayim, what happened? Darkness came, but then after that, one of the most significant supernatural events that happened, when Yahuwah came and struck the firstborn of man and beast in that land. But he told Musha something before that. He said that he would judge Mitzrayim, and also he would judge the Elohim, or the false mighty ones of Mitzrayim. So what he was saying is, not only he would deal with Mitzrayim in the natural, but he would deal with it in the spiritual as well. So listen, understand, there are principalities and powers and rulers of darkness that hover over areas. And with this right here, you can best believe there's a mighty principality that is the strong spiritual force, the strong man behind this dollar bill. And so when Yahuwah deals with that entity, when he binds it, then that's when this weakens. That's when this weakens. And this just happens to be in an area where there is significant economic. Listen, when this earthquake happened back in 1611, it affected the Mississippi River in so many ways. And there's a lot of trade, and there's a lot of cargo that goes through the Mississippi River. And so when that got affected, when that earthquake happened, it caused many households to struggle. Many felt the impact. It was felt all over the country. And so when Yahuwah crushes the arm, the strength, and the United States, they really believe that they're strong because of the strength of the dollar. So Yahuwah has to break the strength of the dollar. And he has to break the entity that's behind it. And then that's when things fall. Now remember, Rome didn't fall overnight. Just like the US, it won't fall overnight, but it will fall. And this is the beginning of it. But let me know what y'all think. Y'all have a wonderful evening. And I gotta get me some rest. But I love you guys. And if you're willing, I'll see you soon with another video. Take care.